the other big story of the day, fat suits. Fat suits have been used by actors in films for decades now, but Emma Thompson's transformation into the terrifying Ms Trunchbull for the upcoming Matilda film has sparked fresh debate.
Critics say that fat suits are demeaning and it's fat-phobic to not cast a larger woman or larger actor to play the role. So is it offensive to play a role wearing a fat suit? Joining us now is the star of Peckham's Finest, Queen Mojo, who says actually fat suits are lazy and they're reductive. We're also joined by comedian and podcaster Freddie Quinn. You think it's just a bit of fun and basically people need to lighten up. No pun intended. You don't mean actually lighten up. Go on, Freddie, what do you mean?
I mean, for me personally, it's what actors do. They put on a costume to play a particular role. I mean, if she's upset about this, she's going to be absolutely furious when she finds out the girl that plays Matilda doesn't have magical powers.
Queen Mojo.
What do you say to the argument, though, that basically you're taking... If you put a fat suit on, you're depriving an overweight actor of work?
Who's the overweight actor that we're...
I don't think it's...
Go on.
Oh, go on, talk up.
Who's the overweight actor that we're depriving of work? I mean, the reason that they've cast Emma Thompson is because she's a very experienced character actress that specialises in children's films, which you'd think would be perfect for playing a role like Ms Trunchbull. Surely that is more important than someone just being fat.
Go on, Mojo.
So you're right. You have some points that she's a good actress. I can't take that away from her. However, when you're plus size, there's a beauty to that. And when you walk into a room and when you carry that weight, there's an energy that sometimes actors can't bring to that. And I think that needs to be highlighted, because if there was someone that was perhaps less able-bodied or had a different gender to us, we represent those on screen. Why are fat people's bodies not as important to do that? I was absolutely heartbroken watching Glee, finding out that the person that was playing a role of someone in a wheelchair wasn't actually disabled. Now, I'm able-bodied, so I didn't relate to it. But I just thought, well, that's really disrespectful. Why can't we have true representation through all the different subcategories of, like, people that are discriminated?
Hey, Mojo, isn't that a difficult comparison to make? Because if one character and their character's whole journey is based on the way they look or the thing that's happening to them, the colour of their skin or whatever, if that's part of it, then that's one thing. But if in Ms Trunchbull's case, her being that size is a sort of caricature, it's not really part of the story, but it's just a caricature.
Absolutely right, yeah.
So what would an overweight plus actress bring to that role that Emma Thompson can't, just by the sake of being overweight?
So, I mean, being overweight isn't just something that happens to you. Alison Hammond mentioned it herself. Obesity is something that people sometimes struggle with. Binge eating is something that people struggle with. So when you're playing that role of Ms Trunchbull, yes, you're walking in there and she's big and she's got this extra weight on her, but also you're not carrying maybe the pain of the reason why she's big. You're not carrying with her.
Freddie, your response.
I'm absolutely blown away by all this. First of all, I am an obese man myself, so I feel like I can talk freely on this. The actors play Harry Potter, actors play wizards in that, and yet for some reason the role of being fat is just too nuanced to capture. I mean,
because
what is it that they're going to make?
It's not a role that you play. It's an experience that people have sometimes, and that can be difficult. There are difficulties that wearing a fat suit just doesn't.
Right, Mojo,
it doesn't cut it.
But Mojo, where do you draw the line on this whole line of argument that you're advancing? For example, supposing a role calls for an actor to be bald, and they're not actually bald, they get the part and they shave their head. You could say that they're depriving a bald man, a bald actor, who may have issues with being bald, in the same way as an overweight person, as you say, has issues with being overweight. They're depriving a bald actor of a role that calls for a bald performance. Where do you draw the line?
I think that they could have, I mean, I don't know what happened behind closed doors, but there are other actors and actresses or whatever out there that have the same skill set as Emma Thompson that could have played those roles.
Name one.
Dawn French, Melissa
Dawn
McCarthy,
French has lost 7 stone this year, so Dawn French isn't fat
big
no
up
more.
Dawn, whoop, whoop, but still
she's lost 7 stone. What would you rather her do? Put it back on so she can play the role?
I'm not saying she should put it back up, but you asked for an example. There's one. Chrissy Metz, Melissa McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy's American.
All right, guys, we'll have to bring the curtain down on it. We're not going to agree, obviously. It's a very interesting topic, though. And what really struck me in our notes about this story is that Emma Thompson actually apparently wore a fat suit in Love, Actually.
You wouldn't know that, would you?
I wouldn't
And
know
that
she
is
wore a
part of it
fatsuit.
because she gets cheated on. The character gets cheated
So she's
on.
that's meant
and
to be
it's meant
why?
to be that she looks a bit overweight and frumpy, which in itself is a whole issue around how women are portrayed in film, isn't it?
Thank you both very much indeed.
There you go.
I enjoyed that discussion. Look.